but I've just pulled over to have a bit of a chat. Do you mind if one of my colleagues who will be part of this recruitment process is on leave today, so I was thinking I might record our discussion if that's okay with you, so that he can watch it back later and just get a bit of a feel for questions and who you are and stuff like that.
Sure, no worries.
Excellent. Let me just organize that. Start recording. Confirm. So, I thought I might just spend a couple of minutes talking about Complete, the company,
Mhm.
the role, and what we're looking at, what we're looking for in the way of a team member, and I guess the importance of this particular role to us as a company, and then maybe pass it over to you and get you to sort of talk us through your background, how it might fit to what we're trying to achieve, etc., and where you think you would bring a lot of value to the company. So we're a New Zealand-based construction company, 23 years old, so coming up to 25 years, which we're pretty excited about. And historically, we would be the number one company in New Zealand, focused particularly in the hospitality space. So bars, restaurants, cafes, etc. Probably over 17, 18 years of that 23 years, that's been probably 80% of the work that we've done. Now, that sector was heavily hit during COVID. The other space that we do well in is the high-end retail. So a lot of international clients, Zara, H&M, Sephora, Emirates, a lot of brands that you're probably familiar with, possibly anyway. And we operate well in that space. We're not so competitive in the small retail space. So, somewhere in the probably 500,000 New Zealand dollars up. That's sort of where we operate. And we probably are unique in this sense. I think if there's an area where Complete's strong, we probably have, in the people that play in our space, we probably have better systems and processes and structure than any of the other people that we compete against. We sort of, we're smaller than the big guys, but we've got better systems than the small guys. So we kind of sit in a space in the middle where we're reasonably structured about how we do things. So that goes through to our estimating. We want to ensure that many of our competitors will just put general floor area rates or, very quick measures and just sort of guesstimate their numbers. We will typically be a lot more detailed than that, and we want to estimate things very accurately, so that we understand our numbers really well. We focus a lot on process, and we've spent a long time trying to build process maps, SOPs, etc., to support all of the back end of all that stuff. So that's one side of it. Now, COVID has impacted us heavily in our sector because both retail and hospitality in New Zealand were shut for nearly 2 years. So all of our main clients, who we've had clients for more than 10 years, many for nearly 20 years, have not been spending any money because of the impact to them from COVID. So we've had to pivot a little bit, and many companies in New Zealand we've struggled a bit with the pivot, but where we've found a lot of opportunity is in the hotel space and the larger joinery manufacturing. So we own and have our own joinery factory. So we need to have the capability of estimating millwork or joinery. I think you guys refer to it as millwork, the American term. And that sets us up quite well to be a strong player in the hotel space. We're evolving from that then. The other big part of the market, I guess, is just become so heavily driven by price. So we are now looking at opportunities of, where we can, we'll procure out of China components, not entire cabinetry items, but components. We're also looking at some procurement out of the Philippines. So one of the clients we're working with at the moment, we're looking at manufacturing mini putt things in our factory for them. So if you imagine little mini golf courses where you go and play with your family and kind of play around. And we will look at maybe procuring some of the items for that out of the Philippines. So where we got to as a business, almost as a bit of a reset, is that we need the ability to be able to bid a lot more work. We need to be able to bid bigger work. Probably we didn't have the right structure within our team locally to be able to do that successfully. So we've taken a step back. We've reduced the size of our local team, and we're looking at building a support team and office in the Philippines. And that will initially start with a focus on estimating, but quite quickly grow to accounting, design, programming, scheduling, etc., project management support, document control. Not in this order, but those are all of the additional things, many of the additional things, cabinetry design, etc. All of those elements we will look to build in the Philippines. So, possibly even within a 6-month period, we may have more than 10 people working in an office based in the Philippines. Now, our goal with that is that the team in the Philippines would be based in an office with a leader, and we would take almost all of our back office function to the Philippines. We would have regular meetings, probably 3 a week, where myself or one of my key team would meet with at least the leader, if not the whole team, online like this in the Philippines, and we would talk about what we're working on, what success we've had, what we haven't, what we need to improve, what we're doing really well, all of those things, and look at how we just continue to get better and better and better. Continuous improvement, I guess, is a really important element for me. Now, this first appointment is essentially the leader of that team. Now, we want that leader to be a skilled estimator, because that's a really important task that we need to be passing up there quickly. But in addition to that, we want them to have the capability and capacity to be able to lead a team, help us recruit a team, but then do a lot of other things. Have a little bit of cross-departmental skills, in the sense that, if they're leading a designer, this is a bad example. If they're leading someone doing scheduling, they might be able to offer some support and coaching to that person, because they have a little bit of knowledge and skill that's more than just estimating, or at least they can get their estimating expertise and apply that to be able to provide support to people in other roles. So when we were working through your CV, we thought you had some expertise and capabilities that would be really helpful in that area. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn the vehicle on because the air conditioning stopped and it's hot.
Actually, you can turn off your
and
camera if that is would give you
oh,
convenience.
no, that's fine. No, that's fine. But thank you. And yeah, so that's sort of what we're wanting to create. This first appointment, very quickly, within a week, you'll be helping us start to estimate jobs, but equally you'll be starting to help us find the right location for an office, and helping us start recruiting for other roles, helping us do interviewing and stuff like that, as our trusted person in the Philippines that really has our back. And without getting into kind of numbers, the right person, we look at supporting them financially really well, and there will be some sort of incentive structure that sits behind this key role that says, if we can make the support office in the Philippines really successful for our business, the person that leads that, we will recognize that financially. So what that works out with the commercials, we can work out later, but that's kind of generally our thought. Someone that's really working hard for us there, they should do really well out of the whole thing. It'll be a demanding role at times. We can have quiet periods, and then a lot can be happening. We have a lot of deadlines to hit, etc. It'll be about making sure that we're coaching, this first estimating role. Quite quickly, we'll have probably at least a couple of people working underneath them. And so there's a lot of coaching involved in that, ensuring that we're putting the right structures in place to build people who are, huge assets to the business. But equally, if we get an appointment wrong, we need to support those people quite quickly. But if they're not right, then move them on and sort of replace them with someone that's going to be the right fit for the overall team and culture. And we really want the support office to feel like they're a part of the team here. So I will come over and visit. So my role, I'm the managing director and the major shareholder of the company. There's another gentleman, Sean, who couldn't join us today, but he essentially leads all the commercials in our business. So the two of us are probably the primary contacts that you'll have. I'm looking to come to the Philippines in the first week of February. So by that stage, I would like to probably have the key person appointed, probably starting to look at interviews for secondary roles and starting to look at offices, so that when I can come up there, we can look at offices, agree a location, get it signed up, etc. So I'll come for probably a week in the first week of February. So as far as why the Philippines, there's probably 2 or 3 reasons to that. We have employed a lot of Philippine-based people in our business here, and I have a lot of respect for them. I really have appreciated all of their input. I've found them to be very honest. Trust and honesty are essential for us. Even if someone's really good at their job, if the trust is broken, it's probably not going to last very long. And I've found all of the Filipinos that I've built relationships with here in New Zealand, many of which still work for us. I found them to be very trustworthy, honest. I think their values align reasonably closely with the New Zealanders' values culturally, religiously. There's a lot of alignment. And so that feels good. In general, I found most of the Filipino people that I've dealt with in a professional capacity have quite good English, which is really important for this role, and really good work ethic. Additionally, obviously, the Philippines is a more cost-efficient market than New Zealand to be able to work. So one of the things that we've found probably in the last 5 years is we've probably tried to survive with not enough people in key roles because of the cost associated with those particular roles. And we think we can do a much better job with a lower cost base because we can resource more appropriately. So we don't need to push people quite as hard. We can get people to take their time and do a really good job. There will still be deadlines and there'll still be pressure, but where we might have the capacity to be able to have 2 people working on one task, where here we would have to do it with one person. In fact, one person probably is working on 2 tasks at the same time, where in the Philippines we might be able to have 2 people working on one task and do it to a higher standard, etc. So those, we will need to be very cost efficient and productive around what we do in the Philippines. But equally, if the business finds success, we will look to reward the team as we can. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of basis and background for what we're looking to achieve. Do you have any questions at this stage based on what I've just sort of outlined?
Yep. Basically, my first question is that falls to, how do you get a project? Do you get your project based on invitation and Procore?
Sorry, just say that one more time.
Do you get invitation for a quotation in Procore, or You have it on your website.
Sometimes, but no. So the most common way in which we would receive invitation to tender is through our network.
Mm,
So sometimes that will come through Procore as the invitation, but it would be rare for it to come through Procore when it from someone that we are not familiar with or that's not familiar with us. So we have a number of main contractors that we work for, and then a number of large corporates that we work for. And obviously, depending on the volume of work, we're starting to do some work in Australia, which is increasing our thing. But again, to chase those opportunities, we need to make sure that we've got the right support team to be able to price because we might go 2-3 weeks where we don't have anything to price, and then all of a sudden 4 jobs land at the same time, and they all have the same deadlines, and we have to, divvy them out and work out how we're going to be really efficient about pricing them and pricing them really well to give us a chance of winning them.
or-
But the bulk of complete constructions, I guess, growth and everything over the years has been through relationships. People we've worked for, people that know people that we've worked for, that really appreciate and trust what we do. Where I boldly say I think we're pretty good operators in our space. We do a high quality product. We win a lot of awards, and that's helped us grow the business over the years. But I think probably number one factor is trust. So good or bad news, we try to be very transparent with our clients. We try not to rip them off. We try to defend our position to make sure that we are making money, but we will not be too greedy. We'll try and think of the long picture and build lasting relationships.
okay, thank you for that. So basically, you get your client, you get the invitations, and then you put it in Procore and do the estimating in Procore, right?
Correct. Yeah. So some of them, let's say maybe 10 to 20% will come into Procore directly through other Procore users.
Uh-huh.
The balance we will receive might be from Dropbox, WeTransfer, email.
Yeah.
It can be all sorts of things. At the moment, we have one email address that we forward everything to that. And the person that receives that then uploads everything into Procore,
Uh-huh.
creates the job, sets it all up, and then gets it ready for sending out to subcontractors for pricing. So that is one role that we will have quite quickly. We'll be recruiting for an administrative role,
Yes.
construction administrator based in the Philippines, who will manage that email address. We'll coach them, but they'll become our expert that initially it'll be all about plans and setting up tender packages
Yes.
for pricing. But in time also, then they will manage things like RFIs and notice to tenderers and additional documentation that
Document
comes
controller,
not only at
yes.
document control, not only at the tender stage of the project, but when the
Project
project
is
is
done.
live,
Yes.
any update. Yeah. And one of the things that I think we struggle with a little bit is we get new documentation. Everyone's busy doing the job. We don't currently have the resources sphere to be able to say, right, new set of drawings came in last night. Let's go through all those drawings. Let's compare them to the tender drawings and make a schedule of all the changes. And at the moment, so that's probably leaving quite a lot of opportunity on the table, cost recovery that we're missing. So we'll look at building a structure that helps us manage that really well out of the Philippines, just by having appropriate number of people to be able to address those things.
Yep. So we have this as-built drawings and as plan, or that this is the tender drawings. Tender drawings is as plan, and shop drawings is the one that we submitted for the review. Is that the same term that you use, shop drawings, or we have?
Similar, yeah. So we will get tender drawings. The most kind of, there's a few other intermediate drawings, but essentially we'll receive tender
Mhm.
documentation to drawings and specifications to price from, and any support documents. We'll price off those, and then if we're successful, we should be issued what's called an IFC set of drawings,
Issued for
which is issued for
construction.
construction. Yep, yep. And then at the point that we're issued those, they will supersede the tender drawings in
Mm-hmm.
Procore. And we should do a review at that point and see what differences there are so that we can schedule to them and any variations that should be applied to based on the revised documentation. And then as far as our shop drawings go, we will issue shop drawings based on IFC. Our designers will create shop drawings for typically only for millwork items. Sometimes there's some exceptions, but just millwork items that we're going to manufacture in our factory. We will issue drawings. We issue a set for approval. Normally, there's at least one set of revisions. And then second issue, we'll issue it back to the client. Hopefully it's signed off. And then we need to do another review and say, have they changed anything from the IFC to the approved shop drawings? And if they have, then what is the cost associated with that?
Mhm.
And then from that stage, unless we get any updated drawings, really we're just manufacturing and constructing on site.
Yeah. In terms of the drawing, so you probably need another team, another individual for the drawings, right?
For what part of the drawing?
Updating the drawings.
What do you mean by updating?
For
As in updating them in Procore or?
updating manually on a, if you have in BIM, then we can use it BIM. But if you want it in AutoCAD, we can have it in AutoCAD. I believe that we can.
Yeah, so
we
typically, sorry.
Yeah, I believe we can only supersede documents in Procore, put some markups, but we cannot do a live drawing editing on the drawings that we have in Procore.
There is the ability to have a live BIM model in Procore, but we currently haven't used that feature. It's a reasonably new feature. And it requires, typically, although we will be doing more of this, at the moment we don't perform the role of design very often. So the client appoints the designer, we're issued the designs, and we're not really updating any designs other than our shop drawings, which we issue for approval. So if there is something that needs updating, we will go back to the client and say with an RFI or whatever, hey, we need a revised detail on this, please issue. And then they'll send a revised detail as part of an instruction. And then we can, cost any difference, etc. And away we go. Part of what we want to build in the Philippines will give us more design and build capabilities. And we will be looking at using those capabilities in New Zealand, Australia, and the US. And so I anticipate maybe in 6 to 12 months' time, we maybe have one lead designer and one support designer within the office in the Philippines that is helping us do design work for specific projects that we can charge through to the client. And that will be that. In that case, we'll be operating in a design and build capacity. But at the moment, that's quite a small portion of what we're doing.
Great. Thank you for that. In terms of I will just ask this because you are 5 hours ahead, and so your working hour would be, so if we are going to work 8 hours a day, so you work from 7 o'clock, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean we have different start times depending on the roles and stuff like that. But there's normally people in our factory, for example, from 6:30 in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night. But people start and finish at different times. What I anticipate with this role, and I'm a little flexible about it, but it's probably a 7 or an 8 a.m. start, which would be 12 midday at our time or 1 o'clock at our time.
Okay.
I think 7 a.m. would be our preference because then you get half a day overlap. But if that's a problem, we can, that's probably something that I want to work through with the key person. If you say, look, hey, we're really going to struggle to get good people starting in Manila at 7 a.m. because of the traffic and stuff like that, then, we might be able to say, okay, well, let's call it 8 o'clock. And then at the end of our day, we just know that that would be 1 p.m. to 5, say 5 p.m., 4:30 p.m. in New Zealand, where we're getting an overlap. So the meetings that we have to have together have to happen in that period. And then any questions that need to happen to the New Zealand-based team have to happen before midday your time, before we clock off. And then you guys, and I think done well, we collaborate an hour afternoon your morning crossover, and then by the time we clock off, you guys are working, and then we come in the morning, and there's normally work that would be submitted to us because it's been completed in your evening. And then in the morning, we come in, we look at it, we review it, we come back and provide feedback, or we're able to execute upon the work that's been provided. And then we give further instructions so that when you guys come on, so it would almost give the effect that the company is almost operating 24 hours a day, because we have sort of two shifts that it's not 24 hours a day, it may be 18 hours a day or whatever, but there's an overlap there between the two divisions, if you will.
Okay, I get the workflow now. So probably you'll be needing administrative assistant and more later on. All right. So
Mm.
here's thank you so much for the introductions, but I have to introduce myself also. I've been working in the construction industry in the Philippines for more than 10 years, and um I have worked as a project engineer. I worked on site and I also worked in the office. And also I have been a planning engineer who's doing the schedule in Saudi Arabia on site. Moreover, in the estimating, that side of my career started when during the pandemic. So even though I had a glance of working as an estimator or in quantity surveying, what I really have I totally developed it during the pandemic. Also, in your side, it's the other way around. Your company has had turned down or slowed down because of the pandemic. But on my side, I started that career. So basically, I started venturing and looking for better tools on how to do estimates quickly. And apart from that, I got the chance to get employed in a New Zealand company also that is working in a fit out construction and also using Procore. So that this is where I think how I could help you. Moreover, I had another question. In terms of the when we have the project live, are there any other documents that we need to submit aside from the contract and the schedule?
Yes, yes. So yes, there's lots of documentation that we submit through the course of the thing. So if you think about the project life cycle, initially we were focused on tendering. So there's obviously the pricing element, then we're putting together the presentation. Associated with that, we would typically put together a methodology
Uh-huh.
statement, a tender document, health and safety
Yes.
documentation, etc., schedule, all as part of our submission. Also, portfolio about us, project team, so that we're putting together pretty robust proposals. Now, Sean leads that process and has some pretty strong Canva templates, but the ability for us to, I guess, expand upon that. What we then, once the project's live, obviously we're updating programs, we're issuing, depending on the nature of the project, we'll be issuing a PCG report, often fortnightly, sometimes weekly, sometimes
Wow.
monthly. So PCG would be Project Control Group, and we would issue that through to the team and then hold a meeting based on to run the project control group, which would include the client, any consultants, etc., through the project status, open RFIs, open variations, instructions that we're waiting on, program, so scheduling, changes, any health and safety issues, etc. So then as we come towards the completion of the project, there's all the completion documentation associated with practical completion certificates, completion documents around producer statements. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but in New Zealand, there's PS1, 2, 3, 4, electrical code of compliance, as-built drawings,
Mhm.
uh, what else? O&M manuals, warranties.
Yes.
So there's a body of work that's involved in collating all of that together, and that is something that we would definitely manage as part of the team in the Philippines. And at the moment, we're doing, I'm doing probably half of it, and Sean's doing the other half. We've reduced our team in New Zealand since the pandemic significantly. And some of that's been really positive because what we've done is forced us to get much more efficient with how we're doing things. We used to have a team of 140 people in 2019. Currently, we're a team of 25, so much smaller. But we're much better organised. We're quite developed with the way in which we use Procore. I think Procore recently told us of all of their companies in Australasia, they have a scoring thing on how efficient companies are at using the system, and I think we rank in the top 5 in Australasia as far as how we use Procore. So that, I guess, and we put a lot of effort into that, so that's not been by accident. So everything from the completion documentation, we have customized tools and forms and everything, and live trackers and stuff, so that everybody can share the same information. So I was saying to someone the other day in one of these interviews that if we were to be going through this process 5 years ago, trying to bring someone from the team from the Philippines into our ecosystem, it would have been really difficult. We just didn't have the systems. We weren't well enough organized with our documentation control and everything to really maximize and do it well. My view is now that we're really well set up. We've got an SOP, which is a couple of 100 pages long, which tells you how to do everything, and a lot of that won't impact the team over there, but much of it will. They get to something, they'll get a bit stuck, they'll just have a book that they can go to and go, okay, follow the steps. How do I do this? Boom, 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 until it becomes second nature. So, yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but hopefully it does.
Yeah, yeah. Probably I also created in Saudi Arabia I have created some method statements along with there's the bottom line of um the method statement that is the health in regards with the health and safety. So what I do is after I made the draft, I submitted it with to check with the health and safety department to check if the risk methodology or risk methods and methods that I have created for limiting the risk is okay with them. So
And do you question for you? Do you have much experience working with AI?
AI, I have a little bit of, but I'm going on Udemy to learn for more about AI, building structures with multi-language, that's LMM,
Hmm.
and to give AI prompts.
Yeah,
So that's my goal for this year.
yeah, great. And I think it'll be an important part of the team over there because particularly, there's always differences with how you do things in the Philippines, different to New Zealand, Australia,
Very
etc. Even when I'm doing something in
There's a
Australia,
very huge difference.
every single
To
thing,
be honest, when I
yeah,
got back
and
to
every
when I
every
got
single.
to Saudi Arabia, I was first thing is I was um shocked how the construction industry was present, or the architectural engineering construction industry is being implemented here compared to the Philippines, because we do it as a one-man team. In the Philippines, you are the estimator, the project engineer, the procurement engineer, and most of the time doing the reports. But in Saudi Arabia, you have there are key roles that you have to fill in. So yeah, it's very huge difference.
The Yeah, I agree, and I think one of the areas that we use, we're doing quite a bit of investigative work for the US at the moment. I don't know a lot about the US market, so everything I do, we're putting a schedule together or writing an email
Mm.
even. I will put it in ChatGPT or Grok or something similar, and I'll say, right, please review this from an American construction perspective and check that I'm using the correct terminology, that there's nothing that would be read by an American construction engineer that doesn't make sense to their, so that, that you can have these standard things that just help you very quickly look like you have a lot more knowledge in the local market than maybe you do until you do. Um, so I think that's something we'll work on together, but we're certainly relying on AI as a tool a lot.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
AI is good just for communicating, but if we are going to use that later on with the estimating, we really cannot do that on estimating because
not so much now, but when you're putting proposals
yes,
together,
yes.
or if you're sending an email to a subcontractor or something like that. But also equally, when I've done an estimate, sometimes I'll put the estimate into the ChatGPT and go, just see if there's any obvious errors in this, and it'll review a document. And what might not find everything, but I've definitely found times where it's found something where I've
Uh-huh.
made a calculation error or something, or even just spelling mistakes or whatever. So it's definitely something that we can support you with. I would say we're considered to be pretty advanced AI
Uh-huh.
users in our company, and we would help support the team over there to use that as a tool for efficiency.
Yeah, so probably you're using Copilot because you are using Teams or you're using ChatGPT.
We use Teams, but Copilot's crap, in my opinion. I think it's a rubbish tool. Uh, ChatGPT is much better. Actually, DeepSeek is much
Uh-huh.
better, but personally, I use Grok the most. Sean, my colleague, uses ChatGPT probably the most, but none of us use Copilot. We have it, but it's rubbish, I think.
Yeah, Copilot is being used less, so its machine learning capability is still a little bit, or its grasp is range is still a little compared to the most widely used AI tools such as Gemini and ChatGPT, OpenAI source. Yeah.
Yeah, Gemini is also a very good tool. We've actually built a custom a custom bit of software that allows us to put one prompt in, and it'll run that prompt in four different packages and give you a consolidated answer. So yeah. Anyhow, yeah, we're getting. I could talk about that all day. um, so tell me more about your estimating, because I think that, estimating and leading a
Uh-huh.
team, and then maybe talk to me a little bit about the New Zealand company you worked for, what you think you learned from that experience, and we can maybe expand from
Yep.
there.
Basically, I have worked for two New Zealand companies. The first one is a fit out company, and the other one is the roofing company. For the fit out companies,
Okay.
I am tasked to encode to do the data entry in Procore, and then after doing the convert it to project, and then do the estimates project or the estimating.
Hmm.
After that, I have to send an email. I will send uh, the manager for the review. Right after the review, if he goes with the pricing, then I would send that send the email right away via Procore and do the follow ups later on.
What's the name of the fit out company that you worked
It's
for?
total fit out.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So total fit out company. And then the roofing side, it's the one that uses another application that allows me to draw the walls, and then it will generate a 3D model of the roof, and then it has AI power also that it will automatically computes all of the parts of the roof and all of the materials that you are going to use. Or you could also do the material cut off or the cutting list so that you could save more with the as the project goes on. And I also worked
Right.
in an Australian company that is doing an project design and build company that focuses on strengthening the structural integrity of the buildings. That is Seismic Pro. So, yep, I have used 3D models also with that, and so in doing the estimates also. So probably it's in BIM models that we work on, and then do the estimates right away in that model.
So what do you think? So obviously you're reasonably new to estimating, but you've done a lot of it. How would you rate your skills as an estimator? Where do you think you're really strong, and where do you think you maybe need some additional experience?
Well, right now, um, I'm not pretty much familiar with joinery. That's to be honest with me. So that's the
Hmm.
thing that I have to work on because on
Well, that's okay though, because it's a specialist area, and we anticipate that we would be employing someone. We'd expect you to learn it, but we're not expecting anyone in this role necessarily to be starting with that sort of
yeah,
experience.
because I have been working in a construction industry for in the civil side and also in the in the civil side. So that's pretty much that I can um share that I am good with estimating, and perhaps the thing is that I can learn things easily, and I don't want to stop from learning and growing with it.
So what is your where do you, what's I mean, obviously you work for Total Fit Outs. You were measuring petitions,
Yep.
jib, plastering, painting, all of the elements, or just high level elements, or
Yeah, basically the all of the fit outs, but except for the cabinetry because it has another team that is going to work on with that.
yeah, okay, cool. And what do you think are the areas where you're extremely strong?
Um, well, the first thing that I am sure is that the way I navigate and utilize my skills in learning a specific tool, for an example, or let me say a computer savvy. Yep.
Okay, yeah,
So, and yeah, so that side. And then in terms of the construction methodologies that I could work on, or the knowledge that I have in the construction, also helps me to work on with the skills that I have right now on site. Yeah.
okay, okay, great. And what would uh, I'm just thinking. Talk to me a little bit about managing a team or leading a team. Have you ever done much of that? And
Yep. Actually, on my first, when I first landed my job as a project engineer, I was tasked to lead a group of uh, construction construction work or labor force in the Philippines. And right away, I have managed three projects, which is in different location, which consumes me a lot of time traveling all the day. So basically, I have to manage those three sites. And the worst problem there is no communication line. You really have to go to the bottom or to the pit of that area so that you could communicate and distribute the task with your teams. In terms of working online, I had a little bit experience working as a team, but not working as a team manager. But working on the side, I have that
Hmm.
skills.
Okay. Okay. So then, if I think about the tasks that have been involved in this role early on, um, obviously there's the estimating piece which we talked about. So that's getting up to speed on Procore, helping us get all the jobs set up and starting to measure. Have you ever done estimating in Procore using the estimating module in
Yes,
Procore?
yes.
Okay, great, cool. And then, oh yes, I did see that on your video, Ashley. And we have a little bit of a playbook around how we like to do that, but sort of we want to spend quite a bit of time with the selected person to get the system really dialed in, so that when we add extra people, they can show them exactly how we want it, how we mark up the drawings, etc. Because we might be coming online and we need to look at what you guys have done. We might be clocking on at 7 o'clock our time, which is 2 a.m. your time. And we don't want to be in a position where we can't do anything for 5 hours because we've got to wait for you to get to work. We want to be able to go straight to the drawing, see all the notes, see what's happened, be able to pick up straight away from where you've left off, so we know exactly what's happened. So we're willing to spend a little bit longer rather than just rushing through it and not leaving notes and stuff like that. And so we've spent a bit of time with that and done a little bit of offshore estimating through Upwork and stuff like that with some international estimators. So I think we've got a bit of a thing, but we've got a little bit of a plan with it. But that doesn't mean to say it's the final answer. We can work with the right person around how we continually improve that. So that would be one part. What about, are you based in Manila?
No, actually, I'm on a remote side of the Philippines.
Okay. And
Have you
so
heard about
you wouldn't,
Duterte,
so
the
no,
previous president?
no. How far away is that? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, I did.
basically, I'm on the largest island in the Philippines where the previous president has lived. So I'm not
Okay.
in the upper side or in the central part of the economic zone of the Philippines, which which is a very where there you can see a lot of traffic jams in typhoons.
So okay, then question for you, because what we would like to achieve is an office with everyone working in the office, and certainly the leader there helping everyone on a daily basis. So we're not anticipating that it's a remote. I mean, it's remote from New Zealand, but it's not remote in terms of
Yeah.
the Philippines, because we think the fastest way to train people and learn and everything like that and get culture is to be working together. And we've seen firsthand experience of that locally here. So if you were the right person, um, I'm assuming that you're not looking to relocate to the Manila. We're not set on Manila, but the advice we'd received is that's probably going to be the easiest location to get the right people, enough of the right people. But do you think there's enough people in the region that you're living in
To work with?
to be able to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like if you're looking to get 10 really good construction professionals together in an office, if I was to think about New Zealand, I could probably only achieve that in Auckland or Christchurch. Maybe Wellington, but certainly Auckland or Christchurch. Everywhere else, there's just not enough people to get. You'll build a team, but you might not get the best people, etc. What's your thoughts about the region you live in?
Well, I am pretty much confident with the team if you're looking for with you're looking for. But in terms of building it on the upper side of the upper in Manila, the the culture is different from our culture to their culture, because in our culture we grow and build together, while on their culture, when somebody is growing up, they are going to pull them down. So that's the crab mentality that we have is being present in the Philippines, which I saw it during working in Saudi Arabia, because most of the time, if if we group them together, the people that we have and the people that we have in our side allows us to grow together and prosper together. But on the other part, the where the politics is, to be honest, the politics is very critical right now. They are the one who's practicing that whoever goes up should go down. So
Okay. And do you so you so getting back to that original question, do you think in the region that you're living in that we could find three or four really good estimators, a couple of really good designers, a couple of really good accounts people, some uh, project document control people, all within the region that you're in, who are going to operate at a high
yeah,
standard?
I can totally say that, because I have worked in a triple A company in the Philippines, in my region also.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. I assume things like renting an office, etc., would be cheaper in your region than in Manila.
Pretty much, that's right. Because the office there would cost you around, let's say, l- would cost three times higher than my side. Also, there's a lot of typhoons, so floods going in those areas. So probably there are times that we cannot work due to those calamities.
Okay, but not so much in your
Yeah,
region, or
though we will experience typhoon, but we do not have that worst case scenario of having the flood where somebody would die or being lost due to the flood, or even the roof is covered by the flood.
and what about wages? Are typically the wages a bit lower in your region versus the versus Manila?
The wages are small, but the skill is high. Yeah,
In your region?
the skills are high, but the wage
Okay.
is small.
Wait, the wages are smaller than the
Yeah,
than Manila. Okay. Okay. So if you were to be employing, an uh, an estimator, construction estimator, to work underneath you as you're the leader. So forget about yourself, but a construction estimator working underneath you. What do you think in your region you would be expected to pay US dollars per hour for a good uh, estimator?
for a good estimator, that is why you're having let me ask you why you're having a figure in US dollars.
Oh, just because I don't anticipate you'll know New Zealand dollars, so at least I can do the conversion on USD myself. But I don't know without typing it into the computer. I don't know the conversion to your
Yeah,
local
yeah, yeah.
currency.
So I was planning to convert it also in New Zealand dollars.
If you can do New Zealand
Uh,
dollars, great.
yeah.
I haven't, I haven't done that. I haven't established the currency rate in my
Yeah.
head to the Philippine
Basically,
currency
we
at the
could
moment.
start from $950 US dollars to 1,000 US dollars. But if you are,
Per,
yeah,
that's
per
per
month.
month,
But
is
if
it?
you are going to see, if you
Okay.
are going also to deduct the rent from that, or because if we talk about,
What do you mean by deduct the rent?
there are times in our side, we just have the freelancer, the term freelancer. So basically, most of the time you provide the equipment. The people working will be working as a freelancer, will provide the equipment and the tools that they needs just to work online. Apart from that, the separate office that they have, and power backups and the power backup generators and the internet backup that they have. So if
But in this instance, we did explore the freelancing option, but we want
yes,
to have permanent
yes, I understand
employees.
that.
Yeah.
So that depends on how you put the salary right now. So in my region case, we could start from 800 to 1,000 US dollars.
Okay. Per annum. Okay. Good to know. And if obviously if I'm coming over, how difficult is it? I assume that I would fly. I mean, when I come over in February, I'm looking at flying Hong Kong and then Hong Kong Manila. How difficult is it for me to get from Manila to your region?
Um, there's another thing because you are in New Zealand. Let me check if there is a direct flight coming in from to Davao, which would cost you save you a lot of time to do layover flights. And let me just check. Google. New Zealand. What is the airport you have in New Zealand?
Or Auckland, AKL.
Auckland. New Zealand, Auckland to Davao.
I don't know that there's any direct flights. I think it's either through Malaysia, Hong Kong, or Singapore.
Oh, because we have this the nearest one is Davao, or even we also have Davao City. Kate is catering a direct flight, international flights. So, and then right from that we have to travel 4 hours to go to my province.
Driving or
Driving.
flying?
That is driving because I am located
Is there any airport in your province?
soon to be maybe in 2028
Okay.
perhaps because yeah, but pretty much you will be enjoying the topography of the area. Yeah.
For 4 hours
Yeah.
each way.
Yeah, and
Actually, that's what I'm currently doing at the moment. I'm doing a 4 hour drive from the top of New Zealand down to
yeah,
Auckland.
yeah, that's the things. The scenery, you also love the scenery if you love the mountains, because you would be going by a lot of ridges going later on.
Okay. And the other thing I noticed from your CV was you'd worked in as an executive assistant a bit, I believe. So that's probably another role that Sean and I anticipate that I guess with your experience in that area, you would be able to help us recruit someone and coach them of the roles. Because Sean and I, I think a standard day for me, to be honest, is probably somewhere between 12 and
Mm.
14 hours. And I'm doing a lot of my day is actually taken up at the moment of doing tasks that I shouldn't be doing, but it's too expensive or too time consuming to coach someone else. And so I'm just going, oh, it's just easier for me to do them. But unfortunately, when the time I'm spending doing that, I'm not working on new business opportunities or working on developing the business, etc. So, and Sean is similar. And so in time, I think once we've got the